Hello, welcome back to Yes and by Marin YouTube, talking every Tuesday right here about authentic alignment and how that is possible for you. Today I'm going to be telling you my story, how I got here and why I'm qualified to be your life coach. I'll also be answering the question of what is life coaching, in case you haven't yet figured that out from my website or the Yes and Model series that I posted in the last few weeks. Check that out if you haven't seen it already. At the conclusion of this video, a special treat for you to implement this into your life for real with me. So I'll start by talking about my qualification from my educational background. In brief, what this looked like is a seminar by Coby Kozlowski, life coach training by Coby Kozlowski, and then a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's degree in positive psychology, and my yoga certification along the way as well. I'll unpack that a little bit more to see how I got to each of those stages because it was not a linear path by far. There was a time in my life when I was pretty nervous about not knowing what's next, and I've since fallen into this trust that all will be well. That's how I got to here, sitting in the seat talking to you, and I am happy as a clam. So if I keep trusting, if I keep landing in situations like this, life is good. And of course there are ups and downs along the way. You'll hear that a little bit as I explain my qualifications, but that's all part of the ride. That's all part of the life experience. So I'm going to start my journey when I was 18 years old. Dance was at the core of my being. It is still one of my deepest passions and when I feel most alive. I realized pretty quickly that dance was not something I wanted to do as my career, and it was not healthy to be at the center of my life, and so I was left at a crossroads. I had to decide what I wanted to do next. That led me through a zigzag path, which is quite all right. If you're there, I feel you. I was gifted with the opportunity to attend Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in 2014 during my first year at the University of St. Thomas. Coby Kozlowski is the wonderful woman who led this seminar. Please check out her work below. I will link her website. She is phenomenal. In fact, I loved it so much that in the next 2 years, I followed her to Costa Rica to attend her life coach training. I finished up my bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of St. Thomas, and then I was again at a crossroads. What do I want to do next? I found one of the only positive psychology programs in the United States at Claremont Graduate University in California. I was accepted to the PhD program and decided to take this opportunity to explore what this would feel like. I realized within the first year at Claremont Graduate University that this was actually not something I wanted to complete. I wanted to implement what I was learning in practice. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to facilitate this conversation rather than study it and stay on the research side. This would be a whole different video in itself of this journey of realizing my own triggers, realizing my own experiences in the PhD program, the different obligations and roadblocks that I experienced when I felt the call to leave the PhD program. However, it led me to experience positive psychology and to practice this trust of my intuition, to practice leaning into my support system. My life coach was there all along as I decided instead to receive my master's degree and not continue on to get my PhD. Again, I was at a crossroads, and I thought maybe I would really lean into this field of evaluation. That was a co-concentration in my master's degree training. I noticed that I dreaded even writing the cover letter to some of these positions, and so it was again a trigger that maybe that wasn't the path for me, and I started to explore other options. I tuned into my intuition. I leaned into my support systems. I thought back to that quarter life calling. I trusted that there was something else. There was something besides this full-time evaluation gig. And that's what led me to Yes and. I'm so excited with what I have created so far, of what you have seen so far. I have combined all these different trainings, all of my different qualifications, under one umbrella of authentic alignment. It makes so much sense to me. It makes so much sense that this all fits together, and I am so grateful for everything that I've experienced up until this point. So let me try to sum that up for you. If you want the logistics, I have my bachelor's degree in psychology, I have my master's degree in positive psychology, I have my life coach certification from Soluna, Coby Kozlowski. I have my yoga certification from Claremont Graduate University. I have my CrossFit Level 1 certification to add to the yoga practices as well, and my alchemy training again, to add to the yoga practice, the physical manifestation of authentic alignment. That's what's on my resume, and you've now heard the backstory of how that all happened. In terms of life experience, I truly believe I'm at a really beautiful point in my coaching career because it's relatively recent. All of my experiences of authentic alignment, of misalignment, of reflecting, of trusting, of doing something a little scary, and then of experiencing the benefits of doing those things. And so when I hear clients speaking to some of these experiences, I can truthfully say, yeah, yes, I so resonate with that. I so resonate with your current experience. And I have experienced the benefits. And so I can inspire you that it is possible to do what you know you need to do. It is possible to reach a place in your life where you really do love it, where you really do feel inspired and in love with the life that you have created. And one last piece about me that qualifies me to be your life coach is that I also have a life coach. When I first heard Coby Kozlowski, my original life coach, speak to this, she said she would never hire a life coach who didn't also have a life coach. I was a little confused. I thought, why would my life coach have a life coach? Shouldn't they be an all-knowing, supreme being? Shouldn't they have all the answers? And no, I've since learned and practiced and realized that life coaches are human, just like everyone else. I can relate it now to how silly it would sound to say, why does my doctor also have a doctor? I think everyone needs their coach. Everyone needs someone to be there as that grounded support, to reflect things back, to ask questions, to point out blind spots that it's just really difficult for us as individual people to see by ourselves. So I also have a life coach. I will always have a life coach. I so value my relationship with my life coach. And that is another reason why I'm qualified, because that means I too, every week, experience what it is to be a client. And so I'm continuously learning, not only as I continue training for a coach, but also continue experiencing as a client. Now let me define what is life coaching. Life coaching for me is creating a space and a supportive relationship in which you can explore and reflect and learn about yourself and your current experience. Sometimes it's really beneficial to compare life coaching side by side with therapy or counseling. That's a question I get asked a lot. What is the difference between the two? Therapy is the practice of uncovering and working through typically historic happenings, historic occurrences, and maybe even severe mental illness with a qualified professional who can assist in mental illness recovery. Life coaching relates to past experiences in a little bit different way by trusting that anything that has happened in your past is showing up right now in this moment in some way. As your coach, I rarely listen to a drawn out story, to your full 30-minute unveiling of what has happened in the past week. This isn't because I don't care. I would love to listen to your story, to your life history. However, what life coaching is all about is taking those experiences, trust that they are here in this moment, and then launches you forward. Of course, we may utilize some of those past experiences, tap into what those experiences felt like, or use them as metaphors, or use them in slight reflection of, oh, I remember when that happened before. However, to re-emphasize, it's not that we're going into those stories completely and diving into and unveiling and uncovering all of those past experiences. That is where therapy is really useful, to talk through those past experiences, to really reflect on all the things that have happened in your life or severe mental illness that is in your life right now. Life coaching is progressive, and it assumes that you are okay in this moment. It assumes that either you are working with a therapist right now to be okay. It's great, again, to be in tandem with a therapist and a life coach. I've done that before as well. Life coaching takes that okayness and transforms it into flourishing. That is why life coaching and positive psychology are interwoven. So again, to sum up, therapy is about history, working through some problems to bring you to where you are today. Life coaching is about looking to where you want to be and helping you get there. Each life coaching session is 60 minutes, which is a relatively short amount of time. And what I tell my clients is that those 60 minutes are only the beginning. So after the 60-minute mark, very rarely are things wrapped up in a neat bow and you feel like you have all the answers and you can move forward with your life. It's more about, wow, I learned something today. I have a little bit more insight. How do I want to take this into my life? So life coaching not only is that 60-minute one-on-one coaching time, but it is also the relationship between coaching sessions. It is how can we take what we learned in a life coaching session and implement it into your life. Maybe that means just being more aware of something that we found during a life coaching session. Maybe it is changing something about your behaviors. Maybe it is further reflecting on something that we started to unveil in the coaching session, but something that you know has more to it. So journaling or talking with a significant other or a friend about your experiences and further diving into an idea that was unveiled during a life coaching session. That in-between work, that soul work, is really where your life transforms. You learn something in the life coaching session and you implement it into your life thereafter. So today we talked about my qualifications, logistically my education and training, why I am qualified to be a life coach, and also my life experiences of why I relate to you, why I so resonate with my clients' experiences in their authentic alignment journey. Thereafter, I answered the question of what life coaching is. If you have more questions for me of any of the above, please comment below. I am happy to engage with you on this platform, on any of my platforms, or reach out via email, and I am happy to talk through that means as well. The last thing I want to speak to today is a gift for you. I want to offer you a free yes and life coaching session. I think the truest way to really understand what life coaching is to experience it for yourself. So please click the link in the description below to schedule your free 60-minute life coaching session with me, with Marin from Yes and see what it's all about. Take 60 minutes to get your questions answered, to learn more about life coaching, and then to experience it for yourself, to explore something you're currently in the midst of, to explore that nagging question or that trigger that you have been called to, or the inspiration that fuels your day-to-day that you want to dive more into. I would be so excited to be with you along for this journey, even if it is just for that one 60-minute session. Thank you for joining me this week. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday on Yes and by Marin YouTube. Stay in touch. I'll speak with you soon.